Thanks so much for that question. You know, I live in a district where 65% of my constituents are rent burdened. Let me tell you a story about a former Hasidic staffer of mine. He lives in Borough Park in a 1.5 bedroom apartment with 5 children. And that's because in Borough Park, he can't afford to rent another apartment because that's how expensive rents are in my very own predominantly Jewish district. All of us, we just went through the high holidays of Pesach, and I can tell you that personally, it was a struggle with all the expenses that we had year round, and especially on Pesach, and including things like paying for matzah and other expenses. But the solution to this problem is not to blame other communities, it's not to create strife, it's not to encourage racism or bigotry. And unfortunately, that's what we have happening here in the city of New York. We have a candidate for New York City Council. I won't mention his name because he doesn't deserve to have his name mentioned, but I will tell you what he said. And he said that the reason he's running is, quote, to campaign against the greedy Jewish landlords, end quote. That's disgusting. That's despicable, and that's unacceptable. And if you're wondering why I'm so upset, it's because this kind of anti-Semitism, the anti-Semitic propaganda, is not new. It's something that we've been dealing with literally for thousands of years. You go back to the Torah, go to the Bible, and you see Paro when he turns around and he says, "Behold, the people of the children of Israel are too many and too mighty for us." And then he turns around and says, "Let's enslave them." Literally, to the beginning of Christianity, you go back to St. John in 379 AD, who actually says in his trope against the Jews, quote, "The Jews are the most worthless of all men. They are lecherous, greedy, rapacious." In 1114, nearly 1,000 years ago, we saw the first Jewish blood libel, Thomas of Monmouth. And he said that it's quite certain that Jews of every province annually decide by a lot where to send Christian blood to other congregations. Oh, you'll say, come on, Councilman Greenfield, that was 1,000 years ago. Well, you know what? The blood libel raged on for nearly 400 years in Europe. And in fact, on July 4th, 1946, in a small village in Poland, after a 9-year-old boy named Henry went missing, his father showed up. And this was a year after the Holocaust. His father shows up for the Jews who had resettled in Poland, and he had blamed the Jews for kidnapping his child and said that there were other incidents where they were killing small children and using them in another blood libel. And so, folks, do you know what happened on July 4th, 1946? Thousands of Poles surrounded that building of Jews after the Holocaust. They literally injured dozens of Jews, and they killed 41 Holocaust survivors. That's what we're dealing with over here. And that's why I'm very proud to say that as long as I have an ounce of energy in me, I will do everything in my power to make sure that anti-Semites like this candidate are not only not welcome here in the New York City Council, but have no chance of even getting in. And I will do everything I can, and I will use every resource I have to make sure that this disgusting individual who wants to seed and sow hatred will in fact never be able to walk into this august body as a member of the New York City Council. Thank you.